Hi, my name is Jude Matulich-Hall, and this is Titles, Talk, and Tipples. Here with me today is Bill McSciFi McCormick, author of the Brittle Riders trilogy and Goptri of the Mists, as well as graphic novels Legends Parallel and Hybrid Zero. Hi, Bill. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Jude. Thanks for having me on. Oh, just because I have fans in India, the word is Goptri.
Goptri. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. That's very important. I should have checked that before going on, but thanks.
It's funny. I was interviewed by a TV station in Calcutta when this was coming out, and it was kind of cool because it was this young kid. He was like 22, 23, something like that, and he was way on the LGBTQ spectrum. He was just having himself a merry old day, but he knew like all my career. His questions were dead on and pointed, and I was like, "Whoa, it's kind of freaky." You know?
That's great. So you did a lot of research for it, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Brittle Riders, I actually interviewed. I wanted some battle scenes in it, the good versus evil battle scenes. But I didn't want, in sci-fi, there's this kind of trope where the plucky guys come out and, they do their plucky thing and everybody, and then they battle and the bad guy sees the fallacy of it all and surrenders and goes away. That's not how battles work.
Right.
And so I interviewed some ex-combat veterans and different people. And one of them gave me the best piece of advice ever. He said, go interview nurses, combat nurses, because they see what happens after a battle. They will give you insight. So I did. And I have 3 scenes in the Brittle Riders in book 1 where it's more about the aftermath of the battle. The battle itself happens. The good guys over here, the bad guys over there, they clash and do their thing. But it's the aftermath, the bodies in the field and all of that. I wanted to bring that home. And considering one lady ended up in therapy after reading it, I guess I got nailed that.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah, it's realistic enough. Yeah.
I got an email from her therapist.
Oh, wow.
Asking her if I could send her an author review copy so she could know what she was talking about with her poor patient. And yes,
wow.
I did send it. I'm not a jerk,
Right, of course, yeah. Right, and so it was realistic enough that it actually induced some PTSD in people.
Oh yeah, more than one person. It's a really bent book. I'm very proud of it. I'm very, very proud of it. It's the first full-length novel I ever had published. And we wanted to come at it a different way. We wanted people to know right up front that what they were getting into was something new and different. So if you look at the cover graphic, and I wish I had one here, but we sold out. If you look at the cover graphic, it's sideways. The title goes from the top.
I saw that on your website.
And when you open it up, the appendix is at the front. It says you can skip it if you want. Most people, and everyone's like, "Oh, I'll figure it out as I go," and then they're like, halfway through the book, what does this mean?
Right.
So it is what it is. It's a very different kind of book. My first book out of the block. If we'd printed it the way it was originally written, it would have been 1,200 pages.
Oh, wow.
Because Azoth Chem is not run by idiots, so they're like, no, an unknown author is not releasing a 1,200-page magnum opus.
Right. Yeah.
that starts with the death of every man, woman, and child on the planet. That's your happy thought in this book.
Happy place, happy place, happy place.
So they split that into a trilogy, and that seemed to work. And now, in England and Japan and different places, you can actually get it as an omnibus.
Okay.
You can order it online. No one's printing it up in advance, but you can actually order that sucker online, all 1,200 pages of it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Beat somebody to death if you need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Goptri of the Mists, that just came out a couple weeks ago, that's the prequel sequel to the Brittle Riders. In other words, half of the book takes place before the Brittle Riders.
Okay.
The other half takes place after. And because we were testing this out and we were getting into, I've never done connected series like this before. So we had beta readers who'd never read the Brittle Riders read this. And they got it. They understood what was going on. We got really positive results. Everyone took a deep breath, said, okay, now let's move forward with this. And now it's out. And so I'm happy with that. And copies are on their way to me because I'm the author, so I get author copies. So
that's really great because that's a hurdle for some writers that are doing series is like, can a person pick up a book anywhere along the series and know what's going on? And that's my goal, And I've read lots of writers that had series, but you could start anywhere. And but some writers can't quite do that. You know, you have to read it from the beginning. So
Yeah,
that's great that you succeeded with that.
Well, the Brittle Riders, you need to read book 1 before book 2 before book 3. Because it's a linear story. It's literally, it starts at the beginning. Book 1 is the beginning, book 2 is the middle, and book 3 is the end. That's how it works.
Right.
It's a single story. Goptri of the Mists, on the other hand, is 2 non-linear stories wrapped around the one that only gets incorporated by reference every now and then. I sound like a lawyer there. Incorporated by reference herein, Your Honor.
That's fine print.
Right, but the 2 stories themselves stand alone really well, a lot better than I expected. Because when I'm writing them, I'm like, well, I know what's going on.
Right.
But other people know too. So that's exciting.
That is, yeah.
And I love one lady. She's a PhD. I forget her name, but she's a literature English PhD, teacher's PhD, college level, you know. And she wrote a review for it and sent it out because Amazon wasn't taking reviews on my stuff for a while, so she just sent it to me. And it's this beautiful review. It's just like, she's like, this is our world and not our world. This is our place and not our place. And I was like, yeah, you got it. And she's like, yeah. And she goes, and I want more. I've read 4 books now and I want more.
Oh, nice. Will there be more in the series?
2 more.
2 more. Fantastic. It's all written inside your head, isn't it already?
Oh, no. Book number 2 is already being edited, and book number 3 is getting through beta readers.
Oh, fantastic. So. Right on. That's exciting. Do you have titles for those, or is it a secret?
Yeah. No, it's Goptri of the Mists, Kitab Ek, book 1, Kitab Do, book 2, Kitab Tre, book 3.
Oh, okay.
And Kitab is Hindu for book.
Okay.
So I literally named them book 1, book 2, book 3. I just did it in Hindu.
That's great.
I'm not really good with those, like, you know, you read about Elgamore, the Flamblepper of Zorandak, Monkadon Chronicles. I'm like, book 1, man, just buy it. It's book freaking 1.
Yeah, I have the
number on it.
Mine are the Eversteam Chronicles, and then I have little subtitles. But I like the book 1, 2, and 3, and that's simple. But I like that you used the Hindi language for that. Yeah,
it was fun. And my Indian friends would have killed me if I didn't. I have quite a few of them. And as a matter of fact, one of them, this gentleman named Manish and his wife Artie, became principal characters in my book. I wrote to them and got their permission.
Oh, cool.
They're really cool characters. And I was like,
nice.
When I was thinking of them, the real Manish and Artie, I was thinking of them as I was writing the fake Manish and Artie. You know, like in the real world, Manish does not have 4 arms and he's not colored blue. He's, you know, typical regular Indian. Yeah. And his wife doesn't have 4 arms, and you know she's whatever. But the personalities of the characters came through, so I asked his permission, and he said, "Yeah, go for it." And so there's a scene in there that happens after a major battle, and it's like there's been death and destruction and everything around. And I was trying to figure out a way to show people that their world had changed. So I took a traditional Indian wedding, which is like a 7-step process with you know, and I took it and I turned it into a gay wedding, which is still illegal in some parts of India.
Oh, good.
And I did that, and I ran it past a couple of people I know that like work for the Indian Council just to see. And they said, "Oh, you're going to catch a lot of flack, but you'll probably sell a bunch of books once people realize it's there." So, because India's got the same kind of gay community everybody else has. You know, there's a certain amount of people who are just gay.
Right. Yeah. So, simple.
Deal with it.
Yeah, and then, I brought this out because of your cover of Goptri. So yeah.
Yeah, it's it started out as a piece of stock art that I then just went absolutely nuts with. The colors are all different and the flames are different, but
it's a great cover.
It is. It came out like I sent it to our publisher and I was like, you know, do this, do that. And the only thing she wrote back, because I had it on the top, just Goptri of the Mists across like a bar on the top, and she's like, "Oh no. No, I want this thing Goptri of them. You know, I want it big, and I want your name big on it because I if you read the Brittle Riders, my name is not on the front cover. I don't have that kind of ego. It's like, okay, there's my book, buy it. You don't need to know who I am. But I guess some people do. So she's working on that with me. It's a work in progress. So I mean, now this, I don't know if you've seen this. Yeah, you've seen this.
Yes, Splice.
And this, tell you a great story about Splice. Splice is a character in a comic book series that Ty wrote for Watchdog Entertainment. And he called me, he wrote me one time, and he said, you know, I want you to go through all my comics. He had like 5-6 issues of this stuff out. It's all called Hit Technology. And he had 5-6 issues out, and you can still buy them. That's cool. But he wanted me to go through them and, you know, and see if I could bring them to the next level, to give them the McSci-Fi touch. Yeah. And because he liked my work, and he loved Legends Parallel. Even went so far as to hire a couple of the artists from Legends Parallel to do work for him on the side. You know, so I mean, this guy's putting his money where his mouth is. So I said, yeah, I'll take a look at it. And I'm going through it, and I'm having problems with the scripts. And I said, my biggest problem is there's this guy who sits in a room and controls everything, and nobody knows anything about him. And he said, well, you know, he goes, I want him to be mysterious. I was like, okay, there's mysterious, and then there's, who's this dude who walked past the window? You know, he's like, other than the fact you say he's important, there's no way to know he's important. It's like, this is an important man. Oh, okay, thank you for telling me. Because nothing in the script, nothing in the stories gave that away. So I said, you know, this is the guy you want to know. This is the story you want to tell. You want to tell who he is. And he said, all right, well, you know, give me a shot. So I sent him, I think, 10 pages of what I expected to do in the comic book. And I have a kind of a flat rate for the, you know, writing for other people's comics, so that way things don't get weird. And
oh, right, yeah.
Because I don't own the copyright. It's somebody else's stuff, you know. Anyway, so I sent him the 10 pages. He writes me back. He says, you know, I'm reading this. He said, your script reads like a movie script. He goes, it's not like, he goes, I've read a lot of comic book scripts in my day. Yours reads like a movie script. Well, that's how I write. That's how I write for Hybrid Zero. That's how I write for Legends Parallel. That's how I write for everything. And he's like, write me a movie. I'm like, excuse me? You know, the budget on that goes, the budget on that kind of goes higher than comic strip. He's like, fine, here's a check. And I'm like, okay.
Fantastic.
Not arguing with the man who's writing good checks.
No. That's what we're all looking for.
So I write the movie. And I kind of circle back. I'm like, you know, I got the movie done. And we had a peer-reviewed guy named Captain Josh Grenard peer-reviewed it to make sure I had all the military scenes correct in it and everything. He's a combat veteran, served in Afghanistan. Oh, very good. And I wanted to make sure, like, the sound of the tanks is right. The sound, because there's a lot more contemporary military, and I wanted to make sure I had that feel. Like, if you've been in service in the last 20 years, you would read that and go, yeah, that's exactly how it is, you know. So I got that, and he loved it. He's become a fan of my stuff now, so that's cool. Oh, that's great. So we got that. I got it in the script. I sent it out to Ty. Ty's like, my God, this is one of the greatest things I've ever read. This is incredible. I love it with a passion. And so I circled back. I said, you know, we should have some sort of intellectual property to tie to it, at least so we can bang the two off each other. Sure. I said, let me finish up the comic book. He goes, no. I've been reading some of your other stuff online. You're going to do a much better novel. And so,
wow.
So I'm like, okay, but novels take a lot more time, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, how about this many dollars? And I went, oh, that's a good number of dollars. Okay, I'm writing a novel. Here I go.
That's great.
Because like in the movie, there's a thing, it just says bad hip hop playing in the background. Mm-hmm. I can't do that in a book. So I did this, and I've actually had people vote this.
Yeah, I read the first chapter. Yeah, it starts out with lyrics.
Yep, the whole thing is there's not a single thing. It's just hippity hoppity until you droppity. Daddy needs a new pair of shoes, so you bitches better pay your dues. We're all gonna party like we got pockets full of dimes. On and on. It's some of the worst hip hop lyrics ever. And I'm friends with a lot of rappers. I grew up when I was in the music business in the 80s and 90s, and I got to meet and hang out with guys like Melly Mel, Grandmaster Flash, and Furious Five. A lot of the guys from just never mind. We're getting into name dropping here, but I know a lot of rappers. And I know, you know, and I know a lot of contemporary rappers. So I was like, what can I write that would be an absolute insult to their wonderful, glorious careers? And this is what I came up with.
That's great. Yeah, I was reading it, wondering. I was like, is this a real song? It can't be. A real rap? It can't be. This is horrible.
No. It's meant to be horrible.
Yeah.
It's meant to offend, and then as you read the rest of the book, as you read the rest of the chapters, like, oh, this fits in perfectly with these characters.
Okay.
Because mom and dad in this book are just not the nicest people you ever want to meet. they beat little Robert and just do all sorts of horrible things to him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he sends him on his path to become Splice. So.
Oh. Well, and that's important. Yeah, so the book I'm writing right now, I start with my when my characters are young and one of my characters badly abused. And so it's really important, I think, to show why a character follows the path that they follow.
Well, yeah, and
where they're coming from.
And where they're going. And with Splice, I decided I was talking to a couple other authors, and when I was putting this together, and the one thing they all agreed on was like the common trope, especially now in Hollywood. It's like you show the kid get abused at 8 or 9, and you pick their life back up wherever you need them to be as an adult. They're 20, 30 years old, like still angry. Okay.
Yeah.
They're like, if you can get around that in any way, don't do it. So
right.
I split Splice into 5 parts, and I wrote each part separately, and then came back and put them all together. And I did that for the movie, not the novel.
Oh, okay.
So there's this very linear timeline of this young man who starts out with a ring cutting his face, and he's bloody and left in he's left in I don't know, not Boise, Idaho. Anyway, he's left in this small town, and he slowly but surely starts getting control of his life. When he was with his family, he had no control, and now he's all on his own, and he's like, but I can do this, and I can do that, and I can do this, and I do it all in little steps, little things he learns, things he discovers he's good at. And Josh Grenard, the captain from the Army, said, he goes, "You just printed a manual on how to make a terrorist. Congratulations." He goes, he goes, "This is dead on."
Wow. Well, and that I don't know. I feel like I like to read about characters that I know more about. I don't want just a character to come out of the blue. I like the idea of showing a person evolve or devolve, whatever you choose to do. It's like, let it make sense to me. I want this to make sense to me. People not everybody that is abused becomes a superhero now. But also, it's like there's different paths and they make different choices along the way. And so I think it's great that you took more steps than just here they are as a child and here they are as an adult.
Well, I mean, as the police said in the old horror story, it was like Jeffrey Dahmer came from the most normal family in America, So, yeah, anybody can come from anywhere. But I wanted it to be, not to just be like justification for what he becomes, because that's trite. I wanted it to be something he earned. I wanted his ability to be a supervillain, something he earned, something he controlled, something he went through. And we talked off screen. I actually interviewed mobsters, members of the real mafia, not like those crazy ones you see at ice cream shops and talk to you funny. I mean, I'm talking like going into the basement of bars where they have a steel door that locks behind you and a dude carrying a 45 just leaning back going, "You need a cigarette?" "No, I'm good, thanks."
So how did you get in?
Well, I grew up in Melrose Park. Yeah,
okay.
I grew up in Melrose Park, which is pretty much a mob town.
Okay.
It's like every mob investigation that ran through Chicago stopped in Melrose Park. There's no way around that. So, and I mean, even when it's a little kid, you're like, that guy over there, he does something with the mob. He knows he's with La Familia. So I know these people, but I'm not in the inner circle, so I had to, be vetted before we went and did stuff.
Sure.
We were going to do the movie, but of course we had a pandemic, and getting insurance for shooting in outdoor locations was like 0 chance of that happening. You're going to go where? No.
Right. So is it on the horizon? Obviously we're still doing this, so.
Right. We're still doing Zoom and Zoom. Yeah. And there's a copyright violation for you. Anyway, so we're still doing Zoom, but they're hoping to do it this fall.
Okay.
I mean, as a writer of someone who did the film, I don't get paid the what they call the security money until they start shooting, until they put everything production into advantage. Right. So there's a check sitting out there somewhere with my name on it that's not coming here yet. So I'm looking forward to that day. But I'm actually looking forward to seeing this on the screen. This is when I write the Brittle Riders, when I write Goptri the Myths, I write these very world building exercises. They're very detailed. They're very deep.
Splice won an award, didn't it?
Yeah, run the Critter Poll, Best Readers Award for the Best Science Fiction Novel of 2020. And I think that's cool because the people who put together the Critter Awards are the same people who used to work on the Nebula Awards. So,
very nice.
So I don't have to join a union, and I still get some same kind of eyes on it. But yeah, we got a lot of eyeballs on it, and they really liked it, so that was good. A bunch of stuff out. I got 2 new projects coming out that I'm really excited about.
Oh yeah, tell us.
One is called Bob Sins of the Sun, and it is a story.
I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, it is the story of Death wanting to be a superhero in Chicago. And when I originally wrote it, it was a hyper-violent. It was really violent. I just lots of death. And then I was talking to a couple of different people, and they're like, "Well, if he's going to kill everybody anyway, what's the difference? Why not just have him be Death?" And I went, "Good point." So I went back and I started putting things together. I'm like, how would this guy be different? How would he not be the Grim Reaper?
There you go.
And then I said to myself, I got to make it clear that the Grim Reaper is actually kind of a cool dude, the original Grim Reaper. Because if you think about it, what's his job? His job is to come to you in your final moments and guide you to a place where your soul will be cared for eternity. That's kind of a cool gig. That's a friendly dude.
Yeah.
I want to drink with that dude.
Yeah, there you go.
So when I started approaching it from that point of view, then Bob started falling into place, that Bob was a rebel against that. And he was like, no, some of these people need to be taken out a little earlier. Some of these people need to get, face something a little sooner. We don't
Nice.
don't need to keep waiting for it.